Say rolling around, sitting on doves, can't lie, I was high on shrubs.
So time to go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang, he is Nate. Today we are ranking every Spider-Man. Kind of.
That appears in a theatrically released film.
Yeah, because we're doing Gwen Stacy, we're doing Penny Parker. If you got spider DNA somewhere in you, you're getting ranked today. So...
Well, we got to change our list because there's a couple different Mary Janes that got some spider DNA in her.
Oompa. And they call me the pervert, but Nate's going to explain it, and then we're get into it.
So I think there's 11 on our list. So he's going to breeze through his 11 to 6. I'll breeze through my 11 to 6, and then he'll do 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Then trade off number ones. Then we're going to combine our list at the end and make a master list.
Number 11 for me, I'm going with the two classic pointing Spider-Man. Number 10 is Spider-Man 99. Just because if we're going based on like cartoon suits, it's a wicked cool suit. Mm-hmm. So just like seeing him on screen, he catches your attention with the suit alone. And then with his dialogue and how it leaves it open, and it's an in-cut scene so it doesn't take away from the movie. It's just like, oh shit. This feels important. Yeah. And to do that in 45 seconds, that's very, very talented by the filmmakers. Number 9, SP//DR, aka Penny Parker. Number 8, Spider-Ham. John Mulaney. He was perfect. Could you have cast better? I don't think so. Number 7, we got Noir Spider-Man. Number 6, I got Gwen, Spider-Gwen. This was probably the hardest one to keep out the top 5.
Sure.
Because what it boiled down to, for me, she's only in one movie, and it's not her movie.
Yeah.
She's a huge part of the movie, but it's not her movie. So that's what kept her out of the top 5. But she's fucking great. She brings a dynamic to the character that we've never gotten before. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. There's a little bit of a love thing in there, which they don't harp on it too much. Yeah. They tickle with it. Yeah. So I'm glad they did that. It didn't take away from the story. But he's a teenage boy. Teenagers, hormones. It makes sense that people like other people. So yeah. I thought for what they did with the character in the movie, it was perfect. But one movie, and it's not her movie. If they do a spinoff, she may go higher in the future.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with everything you said. Interestingly enough, I have the same 11 through 6, but in a different order. But it is the exact same characters. Okay. So my number 11 is Spider-Ham. I think Spider-Ham's stupid. I did not enjoy it. I don't think he's funny. And I don't like talking animals. So number 10 for me was the classic pointy Spider-Man. Number 9 is Spider Noir.
Number what?
11, 10, 9.
Wow.
What was he for you? He's only like 2 above that, right?
Yeah, but like it's like so funny, like they kind of switched.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So wait. Yeah. 9. Spider-Man Noir. I was stoked when I heard Nicolas Cage was voicing a Spider-Man character. I still was stoked. I really do enjoy him in the movie and like him a lot. And I understand that because of the tone of the movie, you definitely had to do this. But it's like, at some point in times, he is just like really dark and brooding, like a Private Eye from a Humphrey Bogart movie. But then other time, it's like super self-referential and like making fun of that, which I don't not like. I just... He's basically 2 separate characters. He is a noir detective Spider-Man, and then he is a joke of a noir detective Spider-Man, kind of like back and forth.
The reason why I had him so high, is because I understood that.
Yeah,
but
it makes sense.
He's taking himself so seriously. Yeah, that he's a joke to everyone else. Yeah. So like, if he did it as a joke,
well, I wouldn't say you had him so high. Well, it's literally just 2 spots higher than mine.
I'm just saying.
And then so that was 9. 8, I had 99. mostly because he's cool as fuck, boy. I understand he's only in the very end of it, and maybe I have a little bit of recency bias since he is going to be in the upcoming Spider-Verse movie a lot more clearly. But I just remember I didn't read comics growing up, but I still loved all the the animated TV shows and everything that came from comics. And the first time I ever saw Spider-Man 99 was like in a YouTube video. I never even knew this dude existed. And I was like, that's the coolest fucking Spider-Man I've ever seen in my life, because I'm like a teenage boy and like nothing's too over the top for me. That looks sick. It reminded me of Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And then I went and like read about him on the internet and stuff. I was like, this is fucking dope. So he just get a little extra pop for me. And then I had Penny Parker at 7. Because out of all of the so like Gwen, Miles, and Peter are like clearly the main 3, and then out of like the side ones, she's just the coolest, and I get the most emotional pop from her, not only because of her backstory but also because of her relationship with the robot for obvious reasons. So, and then I had Gwen at my number 6 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my number 5 is going to be Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man. Reason why he's at the number 5 spot. Personally, I think he's the best Spider-Man.
Like in costume Spider-Man?
In costume Spider-Man. His Peter Parker is trash.
Yeah.
He's not a good Peter Parker. He's too cool.
Yeah.
He's too confident. He skateboards, which I grew up in the 2000s, so if you skateboard,
you're cool.
I still find you a little bit cool.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you look like, you're still a little cool to me.
Yeah. He's not on some rinky-dink bike delivering pizzas.
Yeah.
Like,
so, to me, it was just too much. I understand you tried to update him and gave him more of a modern comic book Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work for me on the film adaptation version.
If he had been like in his 20s when the movie started, I would have been like, cool. Like, I would have even taken a college Peter and like said this is better. But like, if you're gonna make him high school Peter Parker, he's got to be a loser.
Number 4 for me is going to be Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse, because I mean, you can make him look however the hell you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an updated, older version of Peter Parker, which we don't often see.
Yeah.
Does he die? Yes. Is there's 2 of them? Yes. But guess what? I'm going to take them both.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chris Pine, perfect voice for an older, updated Spider-Man. Honestly, if they did like Spider-Man at 40, like, I don't know what you would title it, Chris Pine would probably still be a really good Spider-Man live action.
Yeah.
But he sounds great. He looks great. His backstory and everything happened to him because of all this other knowledge of Spider-Man, whether it's from the 90s cartoon or movies. You just feel like you already have a connection with the character, and you hear the backstory and everything, and you just feel for the dude. But he's also really lighthearted at the same time, and you just go on this emotional journey with him through Miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes for one of the most invested performances in a Spider-Man movie for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's like, because his character really literally goes full circle because of the 2 separate ones, because the first one we get is like so empathetic to what Miles is going through. He's ready to help ease him into this, ready to be his teacher, and then shit goes down and he dies, which like to me is just one of the best. Like, I did not expect them to like actually straight up kill a Peter Parker in any movie, honestly. It's like, I would be surprised if they did it in the MCU now, but if they do, they're going to bring it back, so it doesn't matter. And like, they kind of brought him back in this movie, but in a very different way. So it's like, he went from just super ready to be this like kind teaching mentor, and then jumping to like just midlife crisis, down on his dumps, lost his girl, getting fat, doesn't even really want to be Spider-Man anymore, Peter Parker, and then like through Miles, he like, you know, it reignites his love for the Spiding, so he literally, and then he comes full circle and ends up being that great teacher mentor to Miles again. So I think that character has a lot of depth, and I think it's a good spot. I'm talking about it so much right now
Because that is also your 5 and
because
4.
that is also my 5 and 4 in that order.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield was my number 5, and that Peter was my number 4 as well. So
number 3 for me. This was the hardest lineup. My number 1 was solidified.
yeah,
2 and 3 is where I had the biggest issue with this list because it's like, god damn, like nostalgia versus
and it's like
greatness.
and we've spent more time with one of them.
Yeah.
But the other one is just so cool and
Yeah.
well done. Like,
So, number 3 for me, I went with Miles Morales because the charm of him is not all him. Phenomenal Spider-Man, one of the greatest. I have to rewatch a Batman movie or two, but first or second greatest superhero origin story of all time, without a doubt, on film. One of the coolest, relatable, modern update. This is how you modernly update a character.
yeah.
Like Andrew Garfield, this is the route they should have went. Donald Glover, you're Spider-Man now. It's Andrew, sorry. We want to update this. But Miles Morales, you know, his struggles are different. Completely different than Peter Parker's. His uncle's a supervillain. He loves his uncle. That's the cool uncle. Your dad's a cop. Your mom's a spicy Spanish woman. So you got this comedy, but also strictness in your house. And then your dad, he's a little over the top because he is a cop. You want what's best for your son. Things we don't get with the Peter Parker character.
Yeah.
But his journey as Spider-Man and just being a high schooler is, to me, that's the best part of this character. He's relatable. I can understand him. I can think back and be like, man, I kind of felt this way with this situation. This girl, da 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 da. Where when I watch other Spider-Man movies, motherfucker wasn't shoving people in lockers when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That shit didn't happen. You might have got picked up and like pushed,
Yeah.
and like a trash can might have been behind you, but like people weren't throwing people in trash cans. Dumpsters, on the other hand, that's a different story. But there was no bullying like that. There was no like people who were like straight up like, oh, I wear glasses and I ain't going to class. I make straight A's. You just didn't pick on those people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had their own lunch table and you just didn't go out of your way to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Like maybe my school was a little different, but if you had a class with someone and like you might say a comment or two to them then, but like other Peter Parker stories are a bit over the top when it comes to the high school thing.
Right.
A bit over dramatized, but Miles Morales, realistic. Reason why he's at my number 3 though, I hinted at it when I opened. The coolness of this character is with the situation he's in with the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the situation is. He was trained by a fucking Spider-Man. You have a dynamic that's cool and unique. The animation, it adds to the character. But that's not who the character is.
Mm.
Like the animation, like it's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. It's incredible. It's very good.
But that's not the character.
Yeah.
So personally, I felt like I had to detach the two. So, number 3. Number 2 for me is going to be old Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man, what I grew up on. This is the first Spider-Man I had in my life since the 90s cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And from that to that, and still being in that age, Spider-Man 2002, perfect. Perfect. You couldn't get no better than that. From the cartoon to this, it was almost a live action version.
Mm-hmm.
And I was young enough and didn't really care, where I was just like, Green Goblin's not wearing a fucking little knapsack on his head and like looking like a Goonie. I'm cool with this all like metal suit.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a problem with it. And now it's just like, okay, like that's what a Green Goblin can look like, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Where if you do like a character design like the Rhino, when I was old enough to give a shit,
Mm-hmm.
Rhino doesn't look like that. Why are you gonna have just his head showing? Like cover him up or something, you know?
Yeah.
So everything in this movie just fucking works perfectly. A great film moment, not a comic book film moment, a great film moment is the kiss in the movie. And with him being a nerd and that kiss, you build up to it, and it's like you're rooting for Peter the whole time. And then when he finally kisses the girl, you're fucking going bananas with him, you know what I'm saying? And just his struggles, his pain, I feel like they could have hit more on it. But this is a 2000s movie, and you don't want to talk too much about mental health and shit. And it just adds on to his struggles. So, with all the character has wrapped up with him, I feel like it was just the perfect Spider-Man for that time.
Yeah, I agree.
And if we're talking about live action, sorry.
You're fine.
If we're talking about live action suits. Again, live action suits, the best live action suit. Hands down to me.
Yeah, I feel you. So we're going to have the exact same 3, 2, 1. Which means we're going to have the exact same top 5.
Oh.
But I truly and honestly wanted, so Miles was my number 3, Toby was my number 2.
Yeah.
I really wanted to put Miles over Toby, and I think I would have felt comfortable doing it, but I just still, like, thinking about, like, in terms of Spider-Man, I couldn't not consider the time that I've had with either of them. And so I feel like maybe by the time maybe after the second one, definitely after the third, if the Spider-Verse movies keep being as good as the first one was, I will probably be really comfortable putting Miles over Toby. But it's like, in the only movie we have with Miles is like, he's barely even really Spider-Man in it, right? Like, it's 2/3 of the movie is him just getting through that and learning it. We get that in the first third of the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Which, like, now, if the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie had just been that, it would have been dope also. It's just, we got to spend time with him. We actually have gotten to see him, like, truly be his own Spider-Man. We've seen him go through some of the struggles. We've seen him go through the breakups. We've seen him have at least 2 different girlfriends. And, like, so I didn't feel quite comfortable putting Miles over him just yet, but I'm ready to, and I want to. But,
Question.
yeah.
With the success of No Way Home, the next Spider-Man movie, Tom Holland, it fucking bombs. Let's say. Like, people hate it.
Yeah.
They go back and they're like, all right, we're going to greenlit Spider-Man 4, Sam Raimi, you can do whatever fuck you want with it. And that movie kills. Like, it's like well directed, whole 9.
Yeah.
So we have 3 Spider-Verse movies, 4 Tobey movies, technically 5 Tobey movies, 4.5. Because we didn't
talk about
No Way Home with either Tobey or Garfield.
Right.
Which I find that interesting. But where would you still feel the same way? Miles would probably get the nudge.
Probably because, like, if we got a 4th Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, it is going to be the Peter Parker from the Spider-Verse. It's going to be an older one. He's probably, like, I don't understand how you, with as much space has gone through there, like, where do you start that movie? To me, the obvious place to start it is, like, you know, I've been Spider-Man for 20 years. The city's pretty clean. I don't really have a lot to do. And I was never really great at my personal life anyways. So that's going to be your personal conflict. And then some big bad will show back up. And then through beating the big bad, he beats his personal problems, right?
Since you can't cast him. Opens up. He's at James Franco's funeral.
Right. Yeah, there you
go. So he's like, you know, this is like, I feel like shit because I never reconnected with Harry. You have your little monologue in the car. And then...
Well, they, like, reconcile at the end of 3 a little bit.
Yeah, but, you know, space. So say they're not friends anymore. He saw him, like, raping a girl. He's like, yo, dog, I'm Spider-Man. I can't be friends with you.
Yeah.
So you got to mirror real life. You know what I'm saying? It makes the movie more investing.
Yeah.
Because Harry is a creep at the end. And then the Hobgoblin shows up. And it's like his past confronting him. That'd be a good storyline.
Yeah. But, like, there are you could write other stories than that. That one just makes the most sense. So it's like either way, you're getting an older Peter if there was another Toby Sam Raimi movie, and
An older Peter.
right. And I don't know that I'm certainly not saying that couldn't add to it, but I still feel like 3 movies of Miles would probably be enough for me to put him over, because Spider-Man 3 is bad.
Yeah. Really bad.
So
that means number 1.
old Tommy.
Yep. Tom Holland. Best Spider-Man mixture with Peter Parker. So, with that being said, he was an obvious choice for my number 1.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things I dislike about the character. Like Aunt May. Make all the jokes you want. I prefer an older Aunt May.
Sure.
I think the first Aunt May is like Alfred in the Batman films, the original Batman films. Iconic.
Yeah.
Staple. Perfect casting.
Yeah.
Again, I grew up on the 90s cartoon. So as close as you can get to that, it's just going to be extremely well working for me.
Yeah.
So, Tom Holland, though, learning how to be Spider-Man, things like that, his struggles, the modern update, they got it right this time.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing with Legos. He's doing shit that if you want to get a bunch of girls, that's not going to happen for you.
Yeah.
Usually.
But you're also not... I meant to say this about Miles, because you were talking about the high school stuff, and it's the same with Tom Holland. I like that they changed with the times in terms of, like, being the kid who, like, gives a shit about your grades and pays attention in school. Same thing with 21 Jump Street, right? Like, the nerds of our day are not nerds anymore. They're not necessarily the cool kids either, but it's like you respect them for giving a shit, you know?
They're just there.
And so it's like Tom Holland is like just into enough nerdy shit to where like the kind of girl that he would have attracted without having gained confidence from being Spider-Man is just a very niche, specific type of girl. And that exists more and more as culture goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dig that.
And another thing, I feel like getting Spider-Man right in a live action movie is harder than an animated one.
Definitely have more constraints.
So I feel like Miles, like, since he's going to be the character in Spider-Man 2, the video game, he has a little cheat code to it, you know? So, Tom Holland, harder route. Another thing, I'm talking about things I don't like about the guy, but I don't like that he's in the MCU, and it was just like, MCU this, MCU that. Like, I would have preferred a standalone, but we got what we got, and he's a pretty damn good Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think my only knock so far to him, and they're doing this on purpose because they obviously, there's no end in sight for the MCU, right?
Well, he's not in the MCU anymore.
Huh?
They didn't want to buy him back. Sony wanted to.
Oh, yeah, well, we'll see.
And now they're going to restart it, and he's going to have to go through the same fucking tropes in college with Mary Jane, and I'm like, ugh.
Well, I don't know, because they had this weird deal with each other, so maybe they'll probably just, like, Spider-Verse that shit, and, like, somehow it'll be the same Spider-Man, and he can make vague references to the shit that happened in the MCU, but we can't say any character names, or else you gotta pay to use them.
Yeah.
But my thing with Tom Holland is, it's almost like my same issue with Miles. We just haven't really seen him grow that much. Like, the first one, obviously, he goes through a little bit, and, like, each movie, it's like he has this one, like, specific, like, little life lesson that he learns. Yeah. But, like, he's growing really slowly compared to, like, Toby did in the 3 movies he had. But there's big time skips in Toby's movies. Where, in this one, he's just in high school the whole time. It's like, oh, I get to repeat my senior year because of the blip. Like, so we just haven't gotten... Like, part of what I love about Spider-Man is his character growth.
Yeah.
Him learning things. Like, between, whether it's Uncle Ben or Miles' dad or any of the other characters, there's always this central figure in Spider-Man's life. And for Tom Holland, it's more Aunt May. We don't really go into Uncle Ben too much with Tom Holland, right? So with all the other Spider-Men, and, like, Spider-Man's story is so much about... what kind of man are you going to become? you know, and so like that is a really important arc in Spider-Man's story. And Tom's still like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's still a kid. We just haven't got to see a lot of the growth yet. I'm not saying we won't, but that's my only knock to that character. In terms of, like, I agree with you about in terms of being the best combination of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. He crushes it. Tom Holland was the perfect casting for that. His movies have MCU money, so a lot of that has to do with this. But, like, the action in them is some of the coolest. Some of the villains are the most well done. Like, they did such a good job in the first one, keeping it so grounded and like down to earth, where the bad guy isn't this like galactic threat. And that, it really in his solo movies, like it's not, none of them really are, because even in No Way Home, it's just a collection of normal Spider-Man villains. So the only time he ever faces anything bigger than that is just when he's with the Avengers. And I prefer my Spider-Man on the streets and not in space. So
just like my women.
Sure. Yeah, I would.
Shoot for the streets.
And not in space. So.
Yeah. I feel like the MCU slows down his growth because it's so big.
Yeah.
And when you replace Ben with Uncle Tony for better or worse.
Yeah.
So, but that is the ranking. We're going to put them together and have a master list. We'll be right back. Here at Topical, we're unfortunately poor. And this money you see on screen, that's CGI. That's not real money. Because again, we're poor. So if you want to click in the ad eye in the corner, that video is monetized and we can make money off it. So please go watch it.
And if you click an ad, we make more money. And if you really want to help, there's the thanks button right there below this video.
Back with our list. So we're going to switch off number 11.
I want to do number 11. Because I don't want to say number 10.
Okay. He'll do number 11.
Number 11 is the classic pointy Spider-Man.
Number 10 is going to be Spider-Ham.
Number 9 is 99.
Number 8 is going to be Penny Parker.
Number 7 is Noir.
Number 6, Spider-Gwen.
Number 5, Garfield.
Number 4, Spider-Verse. What does that say?
Spider-Verse Parker.
Spider-Verse Parker.
Number 3 is Miles.
It's like SUV Parker, what?
Yeah, SUV Parker.
Number 2 is going to be old Tobey Maguire.
And number 1 is Tom Holland.
Let us know your ranking in the comment section below. Scroll back up, hit the like button. Even if you didn't like the video, hit the like button anyways. Point at the like button like Spider-Man. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.